New Star GP has just had a brand new update that brings a whole new era to its racing. If you've not heard of this game before, I absolutely love it and done a video on it earlier this year where it came out into early access, and it's still going through that phase now. It's a game that transitions from the 1980s of Formula 1 style racing through to the 2020s, and each of the stages of its early access adds a new era, and we've got the 2000s. In this game, you are having a throwback really to Super Monaco GP style racing, but from a 3D low poly perspective. It's very arcade driven, but it has simulation elements, such as tyre wear and tyre failures if you don't pit for new ones, fuel that you can run out of and conk out on the track, failures to your cars, if you abuse it, keep crashing into other cars or walls or barriers or ride the curbs too much, it will make your car fall to pieces. And you do have rivalries with other drivers who will then get more aggressive the more you crash into them. There's tons going on in this game and I absolutely adore it, and it's great to see the new era of the 2000s pop out onto the game. If I was to describe these year 2000 cars in terms of performance and handling, I would say they are peaky. And what I mean by that is that when they're in the optimum window of warmed up tyres and you've got no damage to your car and you are really in the groove, they accelerate beautifully, they turn with precision, and you can really wrestle and hang them out onto the side. But as soon as you get like a little bit rumbling on the curbs, or you start to really push over the limit of what the car is capable of, you will lose them so quickly, and they'll just snap away from you and cause you like to go into a lazy spin, or quite often I found, particularly on cold tyres, grossly overshoot a corner by a country mile and look ridiculous as you sail upon past the apex, over the curbs, into the gravel, or worse still, into a wall. I also found as well that these cars were still quite fragile in terms of like having brakes catch on fire. I'm quite aggressive with the curbs in this game, and I think that's part of the problem. So my suspension and gearboxes would fail and lock up and jam, and there's still that element of having to preserve your car to some degree and make sure that it arrives in one piece, which I really liked because that was still an element of survivability and reliability, particularly in the early 2000s. I found these cars also slightly faster than the previous versions that we've got out there in some regards. And it's in particular in the corners. They're less angular, I guess, compared to some of the previous eras that are in this game, but it is subtle. But they're an absolute joy to drive, just like the rest of the game, and I'm having great fun enjoying it, battling against the various made-up characters that emulate your Alonsos, your Massas, your Fissikellers, your Webbers are in there too. So yeah, you get to spot your own drivers. Later on down the roadmap, they are adding in the ability to rename all of the AI and teams and stuff like that, so I'm super looking forward to that when that drops. The other really interesting addition, particularly in this update, is a new track. Now, it's called Poland in the game. It's really a take on Sochi from Russia. And there's two layouts, just as there are for all of the other ones, a short and a long. Both are great fun, both feel like they're very low grip, and both have plenty of close proximity walls that will catch you out, particularly if you've got an AI dive bombing you or you're trying to dive bomb them. And I had a great race where it went from dry to wet, and where the water was kind of pooling up, and I know that that's different each time, quite often it would appear on the braking zones and I'd be sailing on past the apex towards my maker in the barriers going, oh, I look like an idiot. This is all good fun as well because you get to do it in the Creator Championship mode, which wasn't put in this update. It was in a little tiny mini update previously, but it's great to be able to pick your tracks, really finesse some of the difficulty, turn the weather on and off, the damage on and off, whether or not damage carries over from one race to a next. I think that's an interesting spin on things too. Yeah, and just like how aggressive everyone is as well, which is handy to tweak around with. The other thing that I'd say too is that in the actual career mode, they've added in something called license techs. And this is a way how you can license out technology to other teams for temporary performance improvements for yourself. But you can also buy tech from other people too. And the idea behind this is that if you've got like quite jovial and friendly relationships with other teams, mainly because you haven't smashed them off the road, actually that pays dividends because they're more likely to share tech with you, but also do it at a reasonable price as well. I'm absolutely loving this game. I still thoroughly recommend it to anyone, and now with this additional update that's coming too, a new track, plenty more career events for you to chomp through, there's plenty to offer. And there's 4-player split screen too, if you didn't know. So, woo! I'll be keeping my beady little eye on this. If we want to see some race championships, drop a little comment down below and I can certainly record some gameplay footage of me attacking various different eras of open world motor racing here. But another big thumbs up update to New Star GP. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.